And is Finster, the YouTuber who became the...
If you follow the world of Minecraft live streaming, there's a good chance you've heard of Finster, who during the pandemic blew up in popularity by performing a bit of cross-dressing as a woman fairly convincingly while keeping his deep voice intact. While he originally presented this as a humorous
I think I remember
gag
him
and swore to be cisgendered,
on
as time went on,
Alita.
the story took an odd turn, as the
I think it like trolls on Omegle or something.
streamer started hanging out with trans individuals who would eventually be accused of crimes against minors. On top of this, wealthy donors started appearing in his chats, offering him an ever-increasing amount of money to fully embrace his female persona, to the point that they legitimately offered $300,000 for Finster to get a breast augmentation surgery. Within 5 years, what
Who are these people?
started as a supposed goof was now the young British lad's entire life. Presenting as a woman full-time, getting intensive
300,000
gender-affirming surgery, struggling with alcohol abuse, and filming hardcore adult content for those willing to pay.
What?
So what on earth happened? Surprisingly, no other YouTuber has covered this story in depth, which is why I wanted to go down the rabbit hole myself. But the deeper I went, I realized why no other person wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So because of that, I need to start this video with a disclaimer. I want to let it be known that the video today is not a cultural critique on the greater trans community, but rather the story of one person. I understand that this upload will be controversial regardless of how I preface it, but I still feel it's an interesting tale that has a right to be told. So with that out of the way, let's begin. Finster was born Jude Howarth on April 21st, 2000. The earliest traces of Howarth online are fittingly in Minecraft, although not on his own account. All the way back in 2014, when he was a teenager, Jude and a friend named Miles created a YouTube channel together called Miles C Gaming. It was initially a place to show off different redstone contraptions they built on player versus player faction servers, set to music by the rapper Chief Keef. Other videos attempted to expose hackers they encountered, despite Jude admitting they had also been banned for hacking themselves.
But nsta was an alt of mine because we played on a server that my main got banned on, so we had to, yeah.
They eventually created a faction called Wings of Jesus with a handful of other buddies over Skype. These types of servers encouraged players to raid each other's bases, with one such occurrence being Finster's first appearance online. It's worth noting the Finster account didn't originally belong to Jude, instead being owned by their friend Finn, hence the name. Howarth's original account was FringeBoy99.
That was my old account, and I feel like that deserves a video on its own because I've had just as long a lifespan on that account as I have on this one.
But when FringeBoy99
I didn't know he was a British lad.
He borrowed Finn's account to keep on playing, only for it to become the basis of his entire online identity.
I had a Minecraft account that, I played on for years. My account got hacked, so Miles, my friend, he said, oh, my friend Finn has a Minecraft account with a rank on the server. Do you want to use his for a little bit until you can buy a new one? I go, what's his username? And he goes, it's F1NN5TER.
The Finster YouTube channel was created in May of 2015, uploading its first video a month later. The young gamer clearly had a knack for designing rather complicated builds, earning respect among the community. As Jude got better at editing, the channel pivoted to Let's Play style content, with the server Revive PvP sponsoring his series early on. This consistency, alongside a good sense of humor, helped Finster reach 5,000 subscribers by January 2016. It wasn't limited to just Minecraft either, with Call of Duty and drunk CSGO videos. But uploads slowed down that fall as the teen began studying for university admission. One of the main servers he played on was Brutal Factions, who gave Finn partial ownership for promoting. This arrangement meant every month he'd get paid a percentage of their donations. However, these stopped over time, and the owner ultimately scammed him by filing chargebacks over PayPal. Given Finster was still a broke teenager, this understandably caused a lot of stress. He wasn't the only victim either, with another YouTuber roped into the scheme. Their only recourse was in a call-out video that November outlining the betrayal by a former friend.
I talked to him for a while before, and he seemed perfectly fine. It's just that, yeah, people can turn, you know? People have a dark side sometimes, and they decide they don't like you.
On the bright side, Jude's schoolwork had eased up, and he could now upload at a regular schedule. Over the next 5 months, he posted over 60 videos, with the most successful being a new series called Factions 101. These uploads regularly passed 30,000 views, and by April of 2017, he amassed 10,000 subscribers. This had been his initial goal since starting the channel, and to celebrate he did a face reveal, beginning with a fake-out using a Guy Fawkes mask.
I'm nowhere near as comfortable as I should be recording with a face. I was trying to do facecam for a while, but then I never ended up doing it, probably because it's a bit weird to have a camera point.
So how old?
Recorded using his girlfriend's
mom's
camera,
time?
it showcased a new 2,000-pound setup. Evidently, this milestone led him to invest in his aspirations to become a full-time YouTuber, one that eventually paid off. But until then, he continued to promote servers with one derided for being pay-to-win, and recorded his various exploits on them. The appeal was a mix of both his personality-driven editing and in-game skill, with old friends like Sagtot being second mic. Since these were public servers, fans could log on and play alongside them, often trying to attack their bases to no avail.
I don't really want you guys to buy me things, because capes cost money. They're like $5, are they? I don't know, it's money. I don't really want you guys to send me money, so to send me things worth money, so don't be going all sugar daddy on me.
This is also about when Finster cross-dressed for the first time. As per Jude's
What?
recollection, they never had anything in childhood for it. But during the UK equivalent of their high school years, he became that one kid when you're 15 that popular girls wanted to put makeup on.
When you were getting dolled up by the girls in high school, did that ever lead to some action on your part?
Well, okay.
bet.
I dated a girl that was big on that for like a couple weeks, and there was another one that was a little bit. I've gotten better at it. It's surprisingly a good tactic, just in case you guys wanted to buy a wig and a dress.
I don't know what's going on in Europe. In 2017, Jude got an email from a female clothing brand
BTS
who
falan.
expressed interest in sponsoring his channel. They specifically said he'd be a perfect fit for their clothes, which he found funny enough to agree with. Once the items arrived, his girlfriend at the time did his makeup and he wore them on camera. Although the video was never released, he's since shown excerpts of the footage on stream. A clip of him wearing makeup also appears briefly in an early Q&A.
Are you a male? No.
It wasn't long after this that Jude dropped out of his studies. You see, in the UK, after students finish secondary school at 16, they have more choice over their next path to take. Jude explained that upon reaching 20,000 subscribers, he spoke with a school administrator about leaving. His confidence made the conversation go surprisingly smoothly, and with his parents' permission, he stopped studying to pursue YouTube full-time. As Jude got more comfortable, the face cam became a staple, and several videos from this era got upwards of 100 to 200,000 views. Finn collaborated with other creators frequently as well, even receiving a Minecraft diss track.
Your mum, she's a slight sort of fame of Russia or a little thing he had, but your views are low. Does that make you sad?
These interactions proved popular among viewers who enjoyed watching their dynamic. Given his background of using hacked clients, it's perhaps no surprise Finn liked to engage in a little bit of trolling. In mid-2017, he was contacted by Jack Sucks at Life, who at the time had 300,000 subscribers. Jack owned the popular server Skycade and messaged Finn about playing on it. This offer included a special admin role which Finn used to grief the entire server. Another name that appeared around this time was Skeppy, a fellow up-and-comer who made trolling and PvP content. Their friendship began after he satirized Skeppy's editing style, getting the larger creator's attention. The duo collaborated that December with their first video together garnering over 600,000 views. They filmed many more throughout 2018, helping both Skeppy and Finster reach new heights. Finn's channel passed 50k subs by the end of
I mean, he was actually doing really well.
while Skeppy reached 500,000. Jude began to
What made the decision to go into
series, Minecraft
adult
Prisons and Skyblock,
content?
uploading every week. The former consistently netted 500 to 800,000 impressions.
That was my temple.
5 seconds ago, I'm gonna be an immortal. Everyone's gonna respect me.
On Skeppy's channel, they did skits and competed in various challenges. Skep played with many other YouTubers around this time, such as Technoblade, A6D, and Bad Boy Halo. They reached heights of 10 to 20 million views, the sign of a broader shift among the audience. Meanwhile, Finn was banned from the popular server Hypepixel for a year after being caught using a hacked client. After years spent out of favor, Minecraft was about to see a massive revival in popularity on the platform. Two major contributors to this were Call Me Carson's SMP Live, which began in March of 2019, and PewDiePie's Let's Play Minecraft series a month later. At the end of June, Keemstar launched Minecraft Mondays, a team-based cash prize tournament featuring an even larger roster of popular online figures. Following SMP Live was SMP Earth, but easily the most explosive was Dream, who initially made it big tracking down the seed to PewDiePie's single-player world. By the end of the year, he'd grown from less than 10,000 subs to over 1 million. During the 2020 lockdowns, when everyone was stuck inside, he launched the Dream SMP to great acclaim. With heavy emphasis on roleplay, it spawned a massive obsessive fandom. These so-called stans led Dream to usurp all who came before him, getting crowned the most popular Minecraft YouTuber of all time. That brings us back to Finster, who while not part of Dream's SMP, played with several members during the MC Championships. But first, we should probably take a step back, because over that same period of time, Finster went from your average Minecraft YouTuber to a frequent crossdresser. The story goes that after losing a bet with a friend in January of 2019, he agreed to let them make him look like a woman. Afterward, Jude went on the site Omegle to troll people, which subsequently became a video.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, there's the content I remember.
Why are you laughing? You're gorgeous. I'm sorry, I did not expect that.
I'm f***ing with you, don't worry about it.
You were so, like, you're like pretty in a wig, and then you talked, and I was like, I'm a terrible person. I laughed. Wait, what if he was actually, like, transgender?
Given how different this was to his normal content, it was posted to his second
Yeah.
channel, which wasn't linked to any
7 years ago,
on
huh?
his main. Consequently, it stayed largely unnoticed for almost a year. The thing is, Jude increasingly referenced cross-dressing on Twitter, even dressing up again for a friend's birthday party. By October, Finster was live streaming regularly and held a poll asking what costume he should wear for Halloween. His viewers overwhelmingly voted e-girl, leading him to try on 4 different outfits while playing Minecraft. It was a hit, breaking personal records and introducing main channel fans to e-girl Finster. And it should be noted at this point that most people tried to laugh it off as an ongoing gag for the channel. Jude held a similar poll around Christmas, this time doing so while playing Minecraft with A6D. It included his first ever walk, where he joined from his phone and streamed himself, well, walking. An edited version of the VOD was posted December 29th, and almost immediately went viral, gaining 1 million views due to its title, I Became an E-Girl in Minecraft, Bad Idea.
Okay.
You look amazing.
Thank you. I know I do.
You do look extraordinary.
Hey Finn's family, are you aware his is wearing a bra right now?
No.
It is Halloween all over again.
Wearing it.
The stream's virality led many to discover Finster's previous Omegle trolling video, which was so popular he'd make it a series, filming 3 more throughout 2020. Today, each installment has over 3 million views, with the second surpassing 9 million. To state the obvious, people were mesmerized by how well Jude could pass for a girl, juxtaposed to his deep voice. And given how much attention he got, it's unsurprising this stunt became a reoccurring gag. That February, he streamed with the title, Minecraft But It's Valentine's Day and I'm a Lonely E-Girl. It doubled his previous viewer record. A tweet of Jude in makeup from this period also got 2,600 likes. In May, he'd start broadcasting on Twitch, which is also around when his e-girl alter ego got the name Rosie Evergreen. This newfound attention fed the algorithm, leading him to surpass 300k subs. With his content moving towards streaming, his main channel was gradually retired in favor of Finster Live. The latter reached 100k in the same time frame. Nearly all these highlights were related to cross-dressing, with the most famous being Finn went out in public dressed as a girl, at over 2.7 million views. Other clips show Finster following hair tutorials as well as taking gender and sexuality quizzes.
Over the last year, have you had dreams in which you were the opposite gender?
No.
Never.
Dreams?
I find
No.
that
I've thought,
really hard to
I've
believe.
thought about it, but I've never had dreams about it.
Alright,
Does
never.
that, should we say a few times? I don't know. I don't know.
Have you had a few times though?
I've thought about it while awake, never while I was asleep.
For the record, he scored 75% heterosexual, and then on another test, 28% for having gender dysphoria.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I mean, this online biasa under level.
Holy shit!
In the same way he started doing the bit as a dare, Jude added a stream goal to dress up as a girl for a week. The first was set at $10,000 with accessories for every 1k each. Finn would achieve 4 of these in a single day and ended up dressing as a woman for 2 weeks instead. It wasn't long until Jude was being paid to wear bikinis, fake boobs, wax his legs on camera, and dress up as Twitter femboy memes.
Okay, what
So is he actually getting paid to dress as a
are
woman?
you wearing?
A bikini?
You're wearing a bikini?
Maybe.
Per the official R. Finster wiki, formerly where cleavage was visible, he used a... In other cases, he used silicone bought from Amazon, no particular brand. On some streams, he used double-sided pads to
actually-
glue them to his chest. This was done by placing the pads further back, therefore enabling more chest fat to be pushed together, giving the illusion of cleavage. For anything inside. I'm trying to envision what the person looked like who wrote this message. Anyway, during this era, many of the people he brought on stream were old friends from high school, including the very same girls who would first do his makeup back in the day.
Ever since I was in high school, there was always like girls trying to put makeup on me and shit. She's the girls.
I just the girls.
These streams proved so popular that he eventually made a new goal called Girl Month, set at 15 grand. The name is pretty self-explanatory, although there was one key difference, that he'd continue wearing makeup and dresses off-stream. Girl Month was reincarnated on several occasions, as Finn spent more and more time living as
Is he
a female.
50k?
There was rarely
15?
breaks, with the exception being when he recorded Minecraft videos, consciously dialing things back as these were targeted at a younger audience. Eventually his hair grew long enough that he no longer had to rely on wigs. After reaching another 10k, he locked all of his men's clothes in a box, with the box becoming another reoccurring goal. Finally, to tie it all back to the Dream SMP during the MC Championships, he went viral for
He's just milking
cosplaying as
this.
gender-swapped versions of several members. The first instance of this was of Technoblade, with the late YouTuber's reaction immortalized on video.
No, it's on double camera because it's live and I'm streaming it, so it's double streamed.
War is good. Sun Tzu. That's a quote.
Oh no.
This is
War is good.
this is truly the worst. Alright, so back to Minecraft.
That list went on to include Tubbo, Captain Sparkles, and Dream, with female Dream amassing over 135,000 likes on Twitter. This new cash flow was life-changing, and Finn was able to move into a new house that summer. Despite his recent dedication to living life as an e-girl, Jude was adamant that he was not and did not experience gender dysphoria. This sentiment can be seen in the comments, who emphasize that someone can cross-dress without being trans. Of course, that didn't stop many in the community from feeling gender envy and embracing him as one of their own. Some simply viewed him as their goal for passing, while others labeled him an egg. For those unaware, the slang egg refers to a trans person
Egg?
who has yet to realize their identity. The extended metaphor likens helping someone realize they're not cis to cracking their egg. I had to go down some weird rabbit holes for researching this video. Whether or not this applied to Finster would be a constant point of contention moving forward, as many felt it simply wasn't the public's place to make that decision. As for Minecraft, in July of 2020, Finster, Skeppy, and 3 other creators formed a group called iDots, starting their own SMP. It only lasted 3 months, as after one member left in October, the rest followed suit. All videos on the iDots channel have since been deleted, alongside a now deactivated Twitter. No further explanation was given for its seemingly abrupt ending. Jude was later invited to play on the Epic SMP in January 2021. There he crossed paths with names like Jay Schlatt, Eddie Burback, Baby No Money, Carl Jacobs, Too Mad, Jaded Animations, and Aaron Hansen.
All the stars are here!
Despite this, his stream was now firmly placed in the just chatting section of Twitch as his girl moding completely took over. In 2021, a site was created to track Finn's cross-dressing called Is It Girl Month? With this extremely weird and parasocial archive, we can calculate exactly how many times and for how long Finster lived as the other gender. The first Girl Week took place in August of 2020. A month later, his girlfriend at the time, Meow Rizza, made her debut on stream.
She needs HRT now?
Some extensive research.
Maybe.
but it's Rose's decision. It's best to not pressure a person into doing it. It might turn them off, you know, or it might not be healthy for them.
The two met in person for the first time on 9/11, and a month later became physically intimate.
Yeah, we haven't actually known each other for too long. We met for the first time September 11th, 2020. It's not even a joke. I usually do stupid jokes, but we actually met September 11th, 2020.
That reminds me of that tragedy.
Getting all my norm clips in on this one. Of the 83 streams documented on the Is It Girl Month site that year, 61 of them were spent as his Rose female alter ego. That said, it should be reiterated, Girl Month meant he'd continue dressing up off-stream. So Jude actually spent 87 days total as a woman in 2020. 2021 began with a brief hiatus, likely due to the start of the epic SMP, but February onward, nearly every stream had him cross-dressing. An exception to this was July. Initially, the people who usually did his nails and eyeliner weren't available. Then finnster got COVID. He made up for this in August with another Girl Month, which included playing with Dream and Bad Boy Halo. It continued for the rest of the year, spending 81 out of the 91 streams as Rose. His female form even began appearing on the main Finster channel, which perhaps isn't that surprising given this was his actual hair now instead of a wig. The crossover started with captions referencing his alter ego, until May when he posted a video wearing eyeliner. No longer having to take breaks from e-girl mode, finally bridging this gap made it a lot easier for Jude to record new videos, and the account became far more active afterward. As you can probably guess, it was only a matter of time before his family found out. On the PKA podcast, Jude explained that before telling his parents, there was a brief moment where they got a glimpse into his double life.
I was in a car ride. I was on like a bit of a road trip with my mom, and I was in the passenger seat. She was driving, and I was just going through my photos. And there was a selfie that I took, and my mom happened to look over at that 1 minute. And she go, "Oh, who's she?" I went, "Oh, my friend."
Meanwhile, Jude's dad put the pieces together after finding women's underwear in the laundry.
And he saw them in the laundry, and he didn't assume. By the way, I've just thinking about this now. He didn't assume I had a girlfriend. He immediately went to, "Oh, he's a crossdresser. Okay, cool." That was it.
So that dreaded conversation went remarkably smoothly, and his mom, dad, and sister went on to make occasional
I mean, that paid the bills, so
appearances on his stream.
Dad,
whatever gets the money.
would like to say hi to the chat, whoever you are.
Hello.
Hello. I've not seen you for a while.
You haven't actually, no.
No.
I've been making Minecraft videos and that.
Are you live streaming now?
Yeah, they are. See all that. That's all them.
With his family in on the shtick, this trend of Rose taking over grew exponentially. In 2021, he lived 175 days as a woman, while in 2022, that grew to 219. Similarly, 90% of his streams in 2022 were done in drag. During this transition, it also correlated with a change in his audience. Whereas before his fanbase seemed closer to other Minecraft streamers and saw the cross-dressing as a funny bit,
Yeah, now it's all
there
gunners.
was now a distinct shift to homoerotic simping. For example, here's Finster reacting to a rap song by self-described simp Joyput. Finn not only gave him VIP status in chat, but Joyput went on to become the main editor of his livestream channel. And to be clear, I say homoerotic because of the emphasis Jude himself put on being a man, from sharing his birth certificate to starting streams with photos of himself as a young lad. Many channels emerged with names like Finster E-Girl or Femboy Fanpage, showing Jude's sissy bimboification over the years.
Frank Hassel, you ever go to high school with him? He's known to sissy hypno.
Several of these users would become prominent members of his community. Take, for example, the head mod of his subreddit, Amoya Amoya Amoya.
Amoya.
Amoya first gained prominence as a dedicated clipper, uploading viral clips of Finster moaning and jiggling his Jude engaged with this individual directly, with a community in-joke being Amoya's fascination with his feet. As the obsessed fan would say, he's sure to single me out when he wears certain types of shoes. So gross. Wish he'd stop. The next to ascend was a user named 416 Hobbit, who made what he called artistic tributes to Rose. The first few were essentially AMVs with titles like Give Me a Reason to Love You and Parasocial Witchcraft. He caught Finn's attention after topping the leaderboard for gifted subs. These tributes evolved into higher effort, community-driven productions that are somehow even creepier. Just take a look at Democracy Fails for Finster, centering on a poll Jude held for his next outfit. The video uses AI to mimic news reporters for the OFN, the Only Finn network. It's extremely bizarre and unsettling.
And it started out innocently enough. Finn decided to allow his viewers to select the outfit he would wear as his now signature persona.
Okay, this is kind of creepy now.
Elizabeth Evergreen, through a democratic vote in a formal poll.
If this uncanniness wasn't enough, the upload essentially recounts how the poll was weighted by mods to appear more wholesome, with a majority of viewers voting for the skimpiest outfit.
Between the ones on the left, who wish to see Rose as the wholesome girl next door, and those on the right, who prefer—
However, by far the most notorious of these fans was a user by the name of 10 Muses.
But I mean, by the way, as a look— oh,
The good daddy looks after his princess. Untuck.
Thank you, Daddy.
10 Muses, who will refer henceforth as 10, first emerged on July 5th, 2022, when he gifted Finn 100 subs. No strings attached, but if you feel like it, give me a sexy smile and say, "Thank you, 10 Muses," in a soft, sexy voice. Jude, while playing along, was understandably
Man, these people, bruh.
shocked by the large donation.
Jesus Christ! Sorry, dude, sorry, I blanked. Right, short circuiting, dude. Oh my god, let me look good at least. Jeez. Thank you for the $1,000. Thank you, 10 Moses.
But even more shocking was that the donations kept on coming. While going over outfits he owned, he remarked that one was likely to get him in trouble with Twitch. 10 reappeared with another $1,000 donation, demanding Jude wear the magical girl outfit. When he refused, the mysterious donor dropped another grand, eventually giving enough for him to cave.
You want me to wear that? This is the skirt that you want me to wear. This. No. What the oh my god. Ken.
Yeah, I don't think you can show that here.
Why are you gifting me so much? What is your job? What company do you own? Apple?
No skirt.
Now wearing the skimpy anime girl outfit, 10 donated yet another $1,000.69 with the message, "Quick spin for rear view, then untuck." Jude once again refused, deleting 10 to give $100 before asking, "Would implants for a year be fun for you, or a hardship to be
What?
endured? Not just a casual question." In response, Finster said, "It depends." As it turns out, 10 Muses was not a longtime fan, but someone who stumbled upon Finster while browsing femboy streams. But as luck would have it, Jude had joked
They actually grown by the twist
in
set.
the past that for $300,000 he would get breast implants for a year. Astonishingly, 10 Muses had that money and was willing to negotiate terms. Of course, such an agreement would require a contract and lawyers, so Finn and his mod Seth contacted 10 Muses in private to vet him. They received his ID, saw him on video, and verified he not only had the money, but was completely serious. As a result, Jude seriously thought about getting implants, deeply conflicted over making such a life-altering decision. But then again, it was life-altering money. After researching what that process entailed, he ultimately decided against it, realizing it was much more intensive than he expected.
Finn, I am proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
made the correct decision.
of applications.
Implants are not a bit for the internet. It's a serious decision.
I thought about it, chat. I thought about it. That's the most insane I spent an...
It was always Finn's call. It's his body and he should do whatever he likes.
Unfortunately, this was far from the end of 10 Muses' reign over the
What is this manipulation going
stream.
on?
In fact, on July 27th, he made another proposal. This time, he would send $300,000 if Jude perfected his girl voice. Once again, Finn's girl voice had been discussed for years among fans. His inability to talk femininely was a recurring gag. He tried to learn several times, even meeting with instructors, but failed as he found it too cringe to practice. But with that amount of cash on the table, Finster agreed, and committed to an arrangement where he'd get $300,000 in exchange for learning how to sound like a girl. This time, his instructor was a woman
Yes,
named
yeah.
Kim, who helped trans women with vocal training.
Kim does
Yeah, it's a lot of
vocal
money.
training. She has helped a lot of trans women. And for my purposes, there's quite a lot of overlap. Again, for people that may not know. But I am trying to learn a girl's voice while I look like this. There's overlap.
Yeah, the process is cringe, but the results will be based.
You might think that with this agreement in place, 10 would be satisfied, but no. Instead, the whale continued donating, showering Jude with attention and crushing any sub or donation goal on stream. He also began sending gifts to Finster's P.O. box, including diamond earrings worth $10,000 and a pink dress reading "Daddy's Princess." Before long, the two were having back and forths through donations, calling Jude a good girl while he responded by calling him Daddy.
Sorry, I only have eyes for Finn.
Thank you, Daddy.
Side view, legs crossed.
I can't do that. I am incredibly straight. I'm a manly man. I'm a very, very straight. Super straight, you could say.
Who's a good girl?
Me, Daddy. I am a good girl.
Does my princess like her presents?
Yes, I do, Daddy. Yes, I do. Oh my god, yes, I
For how many
He
dollars?
began wearing a custom pink collar emblazoned with the name Rose.
Be still my heart. Have you enjoyed being Daddy's princess tonight?
I've enjoyed it very much. Is that a collar? Jesus Christ, it's beefy.
Do you feel different?
I do a bit. I feel expensive.
All of this, mind you, was on a stream where the original intended audience was Minecraft fans who were about the age you'd expect to really like Dream.
You know, for kids.
If all of that wasn't strange enough, 10 also gifted Finn a small pink plastic
Well, he grew up that like, I
chair for
mean,
children. He then
just for like continuously for like 3 years.
$69.69 to say, "That is your timeout chair. It is to teach you to be a good girl when you misbehave. Thank me for helping to make you a good girl even better." After this, Finster's roleplay with his sugar daddy frequently involved sitting in the timeout chair.
You're misbehaving. Go sit in the chair for a bit. Come back when you're ready to be a good girl.
This is genuinely quite uncomfortable.
If you promise to be a sweet princess, you can come back.
By August, not counting the $300K agreement, the mysterious 10 Muses had donated $7,000, alongside 920 gifted subs, making that public total of $12,184.49. That doesn't even include the gifts such as the jewelry. Jude next hit the goal for laser hair removal, with one fan channel noting his quote-unquote backdoor would be smooth, clean, tight, and fresh. There was an instance where a different user named I'm Not Sub donated $1,000. 10 Muses retaliated by one-upping them with a $5K donation reading, "There can only be one." Jude posted this exchange to his TikTok, remarking that
Well, I have lost hope in
sugar
humanity.
daddy wars have begun. Upon learning all this, you might expect Finster's viewers would be weirded out by some random sugar daddy taking over the stream. But through my research, I discovered that couldn't be further from the truth. His fans were overwhelmingly on 10 Muses' side, encouraging him every step of the way. And that couldn't be any more apparent than when Jude tried to set a hard boundary. On August 21st, 2022, Finster decided to cut him off, restricting his PayPal so that he couldn't donate more than $3 at a time. Jude expressed that after smashing every donation goal, he couldn't keep this going, as otherwise he'd end up having to live as a woman for the rest of his life.
Everything that you see that is blue, I have been dressing like a girl 24/7 on these blue days. And recently, the red days are the days off. We stopped doing days off. If I keep letting him hit these donation goals, I am going to be like this for the rest of the year. That's not going to happen.
His chat was immediately flooded with users spamming the hashtag #free10. Unsurprisingly, 10 Muses did not take this well. Through $3 donations, he wrote, "This isn't anywhere close to the same. Change it back now."
I mean, can just create new account.
Daddy
I
is
mean,
getting angry. I bet some big donations would bring in some viewers. I'm using all of this free time I've got now to plot revenge. You are going to pay, princess. You little brat, I will put you on your knees when I'm back. I would like to remind everyone this was all happening on public social
This seems unhinged.
media websites.
Prying this guy an arrest.
Marked as safe for work and treated as normal, silly content. During the same time, Finn opened another gift from 10, a pink onesie reading, "I'm a good girl."
I think you are forgetting who the dom is here.
I think I hold a bit more power as of right now, don't you think, chat? I sat in the chair too many times. I say, Daddy, I have been called princess too many times to let this go.
But just as he was about to open the box containing all of his masculine clothing, 10 Muses made a new offer, one that the streamer just couldn't refuse.
I'll give you 25,000 to leave that box closed.
What? It's completely unboxed. Look, hold on. It's completely open, man. Come on. I was a second away.
After some deliberation and 10 pulling a power move by leaving right after to watch a different femboy stream, he gave Finster his terms.
Unban me immediately. Box stays closed until I say otherwise. Apologize profusely while sitting in chair. You don't deserve the money after your behavior today. Do the above and I make a 25k donation
for transgender equality.
Finster agreed, but with one stipulation, that the money wouldn't go to him, but to charity for transgender people. 10 Muses agreed and donated $25,000 to the National Center for Transgender Equality. It's worth noting that in the weeks leading up to this stream, many felt conflicted over how much money Finn was getting, as it could easily be going to better causes. At the time, 10 wrote on Reddit, "That's a hard question to answer publicly without sounding self-aggrandizing. I guess I'll leave it at I think your concerns would be satisfied." Well, this move assuaged those feelings, and to many turned it into a feel-good story with a happy ending. In fact, all those clips I just showed you were edited into comprehensive videos for the Finster Live channel, which received over 1.2 million views. If you look at the comments of said video, the response is overwhelmingly positive, with many commenters going so far as to praise 10 Muses for what he did. Absolutely based of 10 for not only respecting Finn's decision to not go through with body-altering surgeries he didn't want, but make a massive donation to a trans rights charity. I cannot express how incredible this single person is. 10 is a god among us, and his understanding of Finn's boundaries but willingness to play around has
Who is
been
this?
so much fun to watch. I'm so glad he came
These commenters are
to the
cooked.
streams. I feel like I live in crazy land because the way they talk about him, it's like they view everything 10 Muses did as a big joke. I mean, I know Finn is playing along and all, but the reality of what we're seeing here is a really rich dude testing a 22-year-old's boundaries by throwing money at him until he engages in daddy dom baby girl roleplay. Just because the sugar daddy donated to charity in a last-minute performative gesture doesn't change that from being what happened. I could only find a few even slightly concerned comments, such as one stating, "This is hilarious, but I really hope 10 is just doing this for the comedy, and not genuinely trying to condition Finn into being a massive sub. Yeah, buddy, I'm sure this guy offering $300,000 for him to get breast enlargement surgery is just a big goof." One donation I glossed over is this rather unsettling message in light of his commitment to these life-changing surgeries. "Have lipo on your midsection. They could re-inject the fat into your hips or figure. Reversible too. Maybe a little extreme though." Going back to the stream, to avoid getting back in
Who is this
the
guy?
children's timeout chair, Finn goes downstairs to find a banana before unbanning 10 on PayPal. 10 Muses tests its functionality by donating $1,000. That's how the Finster Live video ends, and for now, Ware will step away from 10 Muses. Evidently, he isn't going anywhere, and per his demands, Jude spent the rest of 2022
I mean, there has to be another donator competing with this
as a woman.
guy.
But as that goes on, we'll shift focus to some controversies relating to Jude himself. The first relates to his then-girlfriend, Meowrizza. You see, before meeting Finn, Marissa was it was her primary source of income, generating 15 to 20k a month at its peak. The story goes that in 2022, she was desperate to get facial feminization surgery. This is a popular procedure for people that often involves remodeling their bones. For her, such an operation would cost approximately
It's basically like clavicula.
30,000 euros. Unable to afford this,
Hell
she asked
no.
Jude to help. Jude agreed to pay her 5,000 pounds with the stipulation that she had to post every day for a month. This agreement was put in writing, albeit on a napkin, but still a contract nonetheless. Well, Marissa did post daily for a month, and on March 23rd underwent surgery. However, when she asked Finster for the $5,000, he refused to pay up. Instead, Jude revealed that he never intended to give her that money. His intent had actually been to trick her into making the money herself in an attempt to teach her a lesson. Not only did Jude see nothing wrong about this, he refused to budge until 8 months later. That fall, the two met again at a party, and Marissa revealed that she was now in debt due to unpaid taxes. As a result, Jude finally made good on his word and paid what was owed on November 2nd. Despite this, there was clearly bad blood, as weeks later, while on stream, Marissa relitigated the ordeal to the public.
Here's my horror story. When I got facial feminization surgery in March 2022, I asked my rich friend Finster, "Could you please help me?" He said no. Paid $0.
Dude, 5k.
They bicker throughout this retelling, interrupting each other to correct details or add additional context. In pursuit of fairness, I'll try my best to convey both of their perspectives. Marissa explains that the surgery had already been booked before she asked. She then claims to have offered to pay him back, but Jude outright denies this.
So I went to Finn and asked him if he could help me out with it. Did I say I would pay you back?
No.
I asked him if he would help me out with it because it was necessary for me. I had it booked, and for me it was like a life or death. Realistically, for most life or death at this point.
At the time, Marissa had 20,000 euro in her bank, so Jude felt she could afford it. They agree her OnlyFans had been inactive for months, which Marissa blamed on ADHD.
At the end of the month, he said, I tricked you. You're not gonna get it. He said, you're not gonna get it. I said, you signed a contract. He said, you're not gonna get it, but I made you money regardless because you posted. He, to this day, thinks he was doing me a favor because technically, through manipulation, he made me money. He did give it to me in the end, like a year later. But at the moment when it happened, he was adamant about, yes, I tricked you and I lied to you, but it was for a good cause.
While Jude clarifies he no longer felt he was in the right here, he still defended his rationale.
I did let my career go down because I was mentally ill.
And that's the sort of thing that would get worse and worse if you stopped completely. Because I knew also when you were going to do the surgery, you were going to be out of commission for a month.
It is a fair play. Look, it is totally fair. He made me post. He made me save my account by making me post. But you could have still done that and given me the money that you promised.
I manipulated Marisa to do something.
Now, Jude pointed out that after the surgery, Marisa bought a Toyota Supra, refuting the notion that the surgery left her bankrupt. Her financial turmoil stemmed from unpaid taxes, which she blamed on her accountant.
Why are you lying? You're actually lying!
What?
I did buy a Supra!
I mean, not paying taxes, they just come
1 year
to the
after
door.
surgery. And I bought the Supra before he gave me the money!
Honestly, it just sounds like this person is a mess. Marisa is noticeably loose on the timeline, as she claims the surgery happened a year ago when it took place in March of 2022. This stream is dated November 2022. That means it's impossible for her Supra to have been bought a year after the surgery. This clip stayed in relative obscurity until several years later when it resurfaced as a call-out on Twitter. Due to the OnlyFans aspect, it was recontextualized as sexual exploitation, sparking widespread outrage. I want all finnster defenders to see this. He literally coerced a suicidal woman under the false promise of paying for her surgery, and then acted like he did a good thing for giving her the motivation to post. He is literally laughing thinking about it. Deeply evil. Finn would respond in a video titled, I got cancelled on Twitter.
I have been cancelled on Twitter, and I do actually mean genuinely cancelled.
Finnster claimed the clip had been misinterpreted, as they were supposedly both doing a bit.
What you don't realize is that we're obviously doing a bit! Oh my god, we are so...
I mean, they're laughing, bantering about it.
Jesus, we're so obviously doing a bit during this.
Finn then offered a new explanation that he was unable to pay Marisa at the time because he had just bought a house. In this recount, once Finn got the money, he immediately paid her per his contractual obligations.
I couldn't pay her, and then as soon as I got paid, as soon as I had money in the account after the tax had cleared, because my year end is in August, the month after! Terrible timing, yeah. Which, by the way, she knows about. And also, this isn't an accusation from Risa. This is just Twitter being mad about something that no party cares about. Sorry, I'm pressed about this chat. And then I immediately paid her.
Now, even if you don't fully side with Marisa, this new explanation makes absolutely zero sense in the context of the original clip. First of all, it's not much of a bit when they're both legitimately arguing. But hey, Finnster's not exactly known for being good at distinguishing what's a bit or not, so I'll give him a pass there. The claim of having just bought a house was never brought up in the initial argument either. I went through old streams to see if his background changed at all, but no, he's lived in the same house from at least January 2021 to January 2023. Marissa's surgery was in March of 2022, and the receipt of Finn's payment is dated that November, so his new timeline doesn't track at all. Finally, near the end, you can hear him stammering off while describing how they got on the subject of taxes. The way he tells it, they were just having a chill conversation about paying taxes. But from Marissa's recount, the thing happening in the background was a party, and that she quote-unquote confronted that motherfucker.
1 month ago, I confronted him and said, motherfucker, why don't you just give me the money? And then he did. At the end of the day, after he made roughly 500k from Twitch donations.
The brazenness of which Finnster is misrepresenting clips we can still watch ourselves is baffling. And to be clear, this is coming from a person who loves to mock people that have false moral outrage on Twitter. It's absurd to call him a over this, but it does speak to how desensitized he'd become to the idea where he saw nothing wrong with tricking a friend into getting back into it. Truly the work of a modern-day Tom Sawyer. Finn confessed the scandal kept him up for days, in part because he couldn't get in contact with Marissa. They did eventually chat, with the public assured they were both still
This seems like a nothing burger.
friends and the matter had been resolved. He ends the video by concluding it was a mistake to respond at all, and that he should have simply ignored the callouts and acted like it never happened.
I messaged a friend of mine called Pyrocynical, and I said, what the f***, can you help me? I've texted Risa, and she's just been offline. Can you f***ing help, dude? And he went, dude, you're going insane. You're ranting about this.
While this controversy was undoubtedly a trash fire, it pales in comparison to what came next. In February 2022, Finnster posted a screenshot of a fan-made rose cake compilation. This got a reply from John Hollywood, a famous ex-transgender porn star with over 300,000 followers. He previously went by the name Ella and uses the online alias Soda Cat and Toon Soda. The two flirted over both Twitter and Discord before meeting up in February of 2023 to hang out on stream.
Sniff the chair, you have to? I'm fighting my inner demons right now, man.
Soda!
What? Ooh.
This wholesome interaction sadly took a darker turn when in August, a prolific pedo named Orion Grant Passmore, better known as Giggly Goon Clown, was hacked, leading all of his Discord DMs to be leaked online. This cache of logs revealed that the Goon Clown was in direct contact with John Hollywood. These messages revealed that John intentionally tried to make himself look like a boy, and that he got off on the idea of exposing minors to that is not an exaggeration. Jean can be seen here talking about EPI, which is short for something so dark I really have no interest in talking about here more than I have to. But in short, Orion and Jean had graphic and specific private conversations about wanting to is sharing drawings of said subjects. It's worth noting Jean at the time was attempting to pivot to Twitch, which is likely part of why he wanted to collaborate with Finnster at all. Whether or not that was related to potentially accessing a younger demographic is up to you. To be clear, while these messages are real and Jean was in the Goon Clown's Discord server for years, that was largely the extent of his involvement. That's not me giving him credit, I just have to be clear about what exactly we're talking about here. The depravity of what was in these leaks goes much further, reaching depths of grooming and other disturbing criminal activities. And in case there's any doubt, Jean confirmed the authenticity of the messages in a statement to Turkey Tom. In the aftermath of these revelations, heavy scrutiny was placed on all of the people who were associated with him in the past. This notoriously included a picture of Hollywood with both Finster and Ava Chris Tyson of Mr. Beast fame. The photo was taken in April of 2023 when Chris invited Finster to Tokyo during a company trip. Jean was Finster's +1, leading Chris to throw Finster under the bus while also admitting to having a crush on him. I invited the person I was kind of friends with because they had just started HRT, and I also had a crush on them. They asked if they could bring a friend. I met the person maybe 3 times total before I realized they were into each other, and I left because I felt like I had been used for a free date to Japan, and kind of was left as a third wheel. I just want to point out it's crazy that Chris is trying to frame flying a person out on Mr. Beast's dime as a story about him being a victim since he didn't get laid. While neither Finster nor Chris were directly connected to the Goon Clown, this backlash would resurface the latter's fascination with Shadman. Eventually, Chris was fired by Mr. Beast after several of his... This resulted in his own Discord leaks where over 500,000 messages were shared online. Once again, Finn wasn't actually connected to this at all. But his proximity to now 2 disgraced trans influencers was enough for accounts like Validels to imply he was through guilt by association. This thread, which got over 16,000 likes, contained blatant misinformation, such as claiming Jean Hollywood groomed the Goon Clown, which is baseless. Still, it was a major catalyst and where most people heard about these horrors for the first time. The very next day, Jude's thread on Kiwi Farms was created, and trolls from the website Soyjack Party raided his chat to ask about Goongate.
What are your thoughts on Goongate?
Jesus.
Oh,
This is gonna continue for so long. What is?
When Finn did respond, it was after revealing he was still in contact with Jean, preferring to call him Soda. He laughed about how Jean regularly brought up weird fetishes he'd never heard of before. They were on good enough terms that he subsequently got a DM from him on stream.
What did Soda DM me? Oh, okay, good. It wasn't normal.
This led one concerned donator to ask him about Soda Cat's connection to the scandal. For the sake of clarity, I should emphasize this was before any of Chris Tyson's misconduct was known.
There was a guy that is a genuine monster who is an awful person. Was in a Discord server with Soda Cat. The monster of a person got doxxed, and like Soda and the guy had spoken like once, I think, like that. Just do it, and it was a good. So one dude on a, and then because Soda was there, and me and Soda knew each other, and me and Chris from Mr. Beast knew each other, Chris is a bad person. That's how it works. Chris is awful.
On one hand, this is a fair response to the people claiming that just because they were in a photo together, that meant Jude and Chris were connected to the Goon Clown. The rationale behind that was tenuous and largely hopes. Yet by grouping Jean in with them, Jude is now downplaying what his friend actually got caught doing, getting off to the idea of exposing Jean DM'd the Goon Clown personally about specific EPI creators before fraternizing on a server.
What is up with this guy?
Years. You really don't think there were any red flags here? The irony of saying all this immediately after detailing several bizarre degenerate scenarios Jean told him about isn't lost on me either. Yes, it's important not to overstate the adult star's guilt, but it's also extremely important not to downplay what he actually provably did. And frankly, if you're going to promote someone like that to your wider audience, that's squarely your responsibility. Following Chris Tyson's accusations, Finn released a formal video responding to Goongate. Jude reiterated he wasn't aware of any wrongdoing, although he talked with Chris about HRT and hentai in the past. But in light of this new info, he would be distancing himself from the ex-Mr. Beast associate.
But under no circumstances should a child have ever heard that.
Jude also discussed Soda Cat's connection to the Goon Clown.
And shortly after that controversy, communication very quickly slowed with both of them.
I apologize for jumping back and forth a bit on the timeline here. So to make this crystal clear, all references to Jean Hollywood after this point are from before Finn said they stopped talking. That's ultimately where the Goon Clown scandal ended, at least in what pertains to this video. As mentioned before, Goongate directly led Finster to receive a thread on Kiwi Farms, which resulted in far greater scrutiny going forward. They asked very valid questions, like if it was appropriate to show chastity cages on an all-ages stream. To be fair, Finster was watching a tongue-in-cheek video by the lock-picking lawyer, so we can give a bit of leeway, until Jude clicks a link from Sissy Suppliers. Finn hides his screen, but continues browsing, spending the next 5 minutes explaining their different cages, while repeatedly name-dropping the site.
They're supposed to be that small and tight. Okay, listen. Sissy Supplies. Oh, I should have clicked. Oh my god. Hold on. Forgot that I was doing that. Should not have clicked on your Twitch channel. But, you know what? Yes, I can. You know what? I guess...
Yeah, so probably okay, put up the links.
Can I get a code?
The site obliged, giving Finn his very own discount code. Jean Hollywood also chimed in during the segment, apparently already having a pre-existing relationship with this company.
He knows the place. He knows you.
I can fix the glitter deficiency.
And apparently there's a lot. There's a lot of different ones in this whole thing. It's Soda. Nothing Soda's out of pocket. I guess so.
The root of the issue is that a once all-ages stream was now chock full of... Even innuendo is a stretch. They were straight up promoting. I think it would be uncharitable to say there wasn't a noticeable demographic shift at this point, and we'll explore that more in depth later on. The last Minecraft video on Finster's main channel was posted in 2023, and he expressed feeling burnt out playing the game as a job. Well, 3 years later, there still haven't been any new uploads. Jude spelled it out explicitly in an interview with The Gamer. If you stream stuff like that, you tend to...
I mean, it's purely for the
to get fans of the game watching it. And so, if I attract a younger audience, then I can't talk as openly about what I'm doing. Where you have people that are more into adult content, they might watch me for that. It's not a community I want meshing. I do have to give him credit for recognizing this as an issue, considering what he planned next. On February 7th, Finster was suspended from Twitch for the prolonged touching of This unexpected ban and Jude's declaration he was the first male to be banned for female presenting body streaming made massive waves across the web. His tweets about the situation reached 140,000 likes. He was able to get in contact with staff for more specific details on what not to do. The suspension only lasted 3 days, and he couldn't have asked for a better exposure. As less than a week later, Jude
Classic
formally
twist.
announced he would be starting an OnlyFans.
I made the thing!
After years of waiting, longing, salivating, just to see a little bit more skin, Kyle of the Painkillers Already podcast and formerly FBS Russia could find all for the low price of $20.
Everyone I've shown your photos to, I start off by saying, hey, look,
$20
tell me what you think of this
for
person. And I
that?
just show them your photos, and they're like, ooh, she's pretty. And I'm like, yeah, right? Let me show you one of her videos. My ears say no, but no.
Within the first week, Finster reached the top 0.01% of creators on the platform. Before long, Finn was looking to hire a dedicated photographer.
And people are actually depressed, huh?
At the beginning, this page consisted of lewd cosplay shoots with no nudity. There were rare glimpses, but fans thought it was overpriced for what it was due to it costing extra. Still, people were coming in droves to pay for it, so can you blame them? Maybe. The more parasocial were paying just for a direct line to talk to Finster. A month later, he went viral after doing a risque photo shoot with Belle Delphine. In May, Jude donated $50,000 to GenderGP, the only private provider of healthcare for trans youth in the UK. The online clinic is based out of Singapore and operates internationally. This donation was made with the help of 10 muses, and had been in the works since 2022, implying new arrangements with the sugar daddy were still being made, albeit behind the scenes. After spending so much time going through all of these different conversations, now seems like a good time to explore where Finn was at in his day-to-day life. A reoccurring question among curious viewers at the time was if and when Finster started taking HRT. The answer is somewhat complicated. You see, technically, he began attempting hormone replacement therapy on October 23, 2022. Jude started applying to his skin, as well as raloxifene. Jude chose raloxifene in particular due to it,
And that was like way early than I thought.
stating he however, due to his inexperience and inconsistency, this process had minimal effect.
And then someone that was also on it told me that they were pissing blood, and I went, oh, okay. And I went, I'm good, I'm alright, okay, let's maybe not do that.
That changed in the summer of 2023 when he Big Icky, real name Ashley. The two began dating as she started regularly appearing on
Blood? Oh, hell
So
no.
me and Ashley went on, we met each other because we found out we lived in the same city, and then we spent every single day from that point up until like 4 or 5 months into the relationship in the same room. Like we never left each other. She always like came over to my place, and then she moved in in 3 weeks.
Ashley had a sizable channel of her own about her journey transitioning, giving advice on HRT and how to dress like a girl. It was through her guidance that Finn would get a more proper regimen, learning the correct doses and how frequently to take them. This started about a month after they met, meaning Finn properly began taking HRT in August of 2023.
It was my dad. Well, he said, hello, son.
Do you look proud?
No. Surprisingly not. But in fact, he said, hello, hey, son, I'm on a mission. I don't care what you look like. And then I opened the door fully in the maid dress and he went...
Jude and Ashley would eventually start filming together, just stopping content. These lines were slowly crossed as by the end of the year, Finn had multiple videos. As for Twitch, Finn began drinking more heavily, leading to personally embarrassing moments.
Well, I know when I'm drunk, and that's me staring through my monitor at nothing.
That fall, Jude planned to undergo septoplasty, a procedure used to correct a deviated septum. As a result, he was on hiatus, citing both the operation and mental health reasons. However, he wound up canceling the surgery after being sketched out by the hospital staff. On September 10th, Finster went live, visibly breaking down on camera. He revealed that he suffered from clinical depression, having been diagnosed a few months prior.
I got I went to a doctor. I got a little diagnosis for clinical depression a few months back.
This led into Jude confessing he didn't like how he looked.
Do you just like
Bruh.
that you're feminine, or just like that you're masculine?
What happened?
It's just like a general thing. Estrogen deficiency. It's probably that. Eyebrows are nice. Guys, I really hate how I look. Well, your eyebrows. Well, listen, all hope is not lost. Those eyebrows are looking poggers.
Finn had just gotten back from Insomnia, a gaming convention in Birmingham where he spoke to many fans in person. Hearing stories of how he helped them with their struggles reminded him of his original reason for doing social media, to help people. That included meeting a who said Finn's sponsorship of GenderGP had saved their life. The stream loses focus after this as he reminisces on the past.
Hey, is anyone aware of something that happened on March 3rd? Anyone aware of something that happened on March? Anyone know? I was doing Minecraft for this entire time, by the way. Like, all of this, like, I started streaming, like, here. Like, right here when it goes up, I started streaming on there, and then this was all the Minecraft days. Man, that's depressing. Jesus.
While he said he'd be taking weeks off for his mental health, he returned to Twitch on the 20th for a sleepover stream. Similarly, his girlfriend Icky had a mental health episode on Instagram. Jude streamed 11 more times in the last months of 2023, as his schedule noticeably slowed down. He had taken a month-long sobriety break as prep for his surgery. Now he was on med.
I mean, yes, or the med
That
banks.
mixed badly with alcohol. In November, he out and nearly drowning in his own vomit. Thankfully, Ashley was there to turn him over after he passed out. Finally, Jude planned to pursue ketamine therapy for his depression. It would be administered in a clinical setting in London. This didn't end up happening, so he'd continue looking for a way to get the drug. Jude also tried seeing an EMDR therapist, short for eye movement desensitization reprocessing, but he stopped sessions after being asked to remember a traumatic relationship.
What this guy did was he went, we're going to tackle that issue. I want you to think about the worst it ever was. I want you to think about the worst, the worst that relationship ever got. for a couple minutes while he's doing this, right? He's gonna say, "Can you rate a scale of like uncomfy on a, like how like scared you feel on a scale of 1 to 10?" And I was like, after the like he did it for 30 seconds, and immediately I am just bawling my eyes out. I am in tears.
During this period, he continued making posting a special one on Christmas. Meanwhile, Kiwi Farms uncovered years-old logs from Finn and YouTuber Count Dankula's Discord server. It offered a snapshot as to what he was like from late 2019 to 2020. Lyra, don't talk to me. I'm in the middle of my 12th sissy task. The sissy shit claimed many victims. Baiting the feminization market is a strat. I feel like it was worth it. The donos, man. But there probably will be a day I will. Sorry, what? I can't hear. I'd argue I server. Finn not on HRT yet? Not quite. If HRT didn't fuck up 90% of what I like about being a guy, too emotional. Don't need that. Jude left the Discord years before these resurfaced, and the people still there had soured on him. Dankula himself responded by stating he'd been filled in on Finn's new friends and unfollowed him because of it. It seems Jude was made aware of this as he tried to rejoin the server several times, only to discover he had been banned. On March 1st, 2024, Jude uploaded a video for Finster Live simply titled Coming Out. After years of public speculation and personal turmoil looking for a label that fits, Finster came out as gender fluid. In the video, he explained that he'd been taking HRT, but still preferred for people to use the he/him pronouns. And just to be clear, I will be using both pronouns going forward, as Finster said he's okay with it. In addition to being gender fluid, Jude also identifies as bisexual.
I don't think anyone should feel pressured to come out, and I get that I'm definitely like top of the tier list for this guy's probably trans. I just want to be able to talk more openly about stuff. The easiest thing would be to just not do this, to keep cross-dressing forever. But I want to change.
Jude discussed making a pros and cons list before taking HRT, and claimed there weren't really many cons. He also acknowledged the possibility of potential monetary factors in this decision.
I know it's stupid, but I wanted to say it.
I did factor in the whole, like, I wonder if doing streaming and the money that's kind of attached to it is the reason I wanted to do this.
Like, is it warping my brain?
I did think about that. I've streamed for years and it's been my entire life and I've made a lot of money off it, and I wonder if that's what's affecting me and making me want to do this, and it's not.
In a follow-up, Jude elaborated on the effects estrogen had on his brain.
Having no testosterone in your system did such an insane thing with me of like, I'm not quickly frustrated anymore. I don't get angry to the extent I got angry before, even close. Like, I wouldn't even say even half the amount. Having estrogen in your system fixed so much of my mental health.
And with that, Jude had formally come out and bisexual. You know what? I'm just gonna move on because not much really changed after this. It seems like the video was mainly to clarify where he was at and make what was already known explicit. Things stayed pretty low profile after this until March 30th, 2024, when Finster uploaded a video titled I Got Doxed. It focused on an article by The Times, a daily British newspaper dating all the way back to 1785. Their reporting fixated on his donation to Gender GP and the assistance he had from 10 muses. It read, Puberty Blocker Clinic accepted $20,000 donation from Sugar Daddy. Finn accused The Times of revealing his full name, although it's not hard to find as he registered several companies including Finster Ltd back in 2018. That, along with how famous he had become, makes me question if you could even call it a dox. Still, most came out in support of him, ignoring the Sugar Daddy or reducing 10 muses to a US businessman. In his response, Finn also discussed how Gender GP had fallen out of favor within the trans community. The for-profit online clinic faced backlash after a significant change in conduct, including claims of untrained personnel and the alleged use of AI. As a result, Jude revealed plans to create a non-profit alternative. However, this effort was halted after Parliament banned puberty blockers for children. Still, Jude's announcement sparked backlash from right-wingers like Libs of TikTok and Joshua Connor Moon, owner of Kiwi Farms. Finn replied to the latter directly on stream, who by then had been suspended off Twitter.
This guy was, or is the owner of Kiwi Farms, if you've heard of it. It's basically, I had to get told about the guy, so I googled him.
Josh had written a long thread making numerous claims about Finn and transgender people in general. He raised concerns over Finster's Discord server being open to minors. Finn admitted this, but only because it was inevitable with a public server. He pointed out that not safe for work topics were banned and explicitly called helping teens find their sexuality f***ing disgusting.
In it, there are multiple public channels under the Rainbow Road to help teens, that's so f***ing disgusting, find their sexuality. Again, f***ing disgusting, and we don't allow it.
As part of this rebuttal, Finn also said that he was asexual, having mentioned his very low sex drive in the past. Although I thought he just said that he was bisexual, you know what, never mind.
The next one is this.
Why this flip-flopping?
He also profits through. I'm asexual. I wonder who told him that. Oh, no one! I wonder if he'd do research.
Josh also brought up his connection to John Hollywood, leading Finn to fully disavow him for his quote-unquote yikes moment.
I know Soda's not into that, obviously. I've known them personally for a very long time, and I know that they're not. But even still, the things that were said to that person was like actively joking about minors, and I don't know, man. It's a bit, you know, you can see where I'm coming from, right? It's a bit like it's a yikes.
Shortly after, Finn was targeted by Sojak Party, who found his home address and sent him pizzas. Later that month, the Jude discussed what drugs he was currently taking. He underwent several sessions of ketamine therapy at high enough doses to cause hallucinations. Jude also expressed interest in trying other substances, including illegal ones, but he was hesitant to take anything he couldn't talk about on the internet. On June 22nd, Finster collabed with YouTuber and former Dream SMP member Jack Manifold. They streamed a You Laugh You Lose challenge together with a viewer-funded prize pool. Finn negotiated for Jack to cross-dress on stream if the pool made £3,000. Finn later donated £1,000 himself. Interestingly, during this discussion, a familiar name would re-emerge to donate.
Oh yeah, 10 users is in the chat, donated $1.
That was the guy.
Who donated $500,000.
Yep, 30 grand, you do it for a month.
I mean, I've got to go away for the next 2 weeks. Even for 30 grand, I'm not dressing as a woman at VidCon. However, once I return, on stream for the next 30 days, a woman for the next 30 days, 30 grand? Sure. On stream, sure.
The one-off cross-dressing stream wound up happening after Finn and Jack met up in real life. With 10 Muses back in the spotlight between the article and this recent donation, many were curious as to who exactly this mysterious wealthy donor was. Kiwi Farms became dead set on figuring out his identity, but as we'll see, they were far from the first to make such an attempt. Questions over his background and how he could afford these massive donations started shortly after he appeared. Whenever this was asked in Finster subreddit, the topic was discouraged. 10 Muses is daddy, and we should respect his privacy, rather than collecting the crumbs of details like we are farming kiwis. In short, they were telling people to not ruin the good thing they had going. Only a few details were known about 10 Muses, that 10 was American and some kind of surgeon.
Just a doctor.
Okay, well, 10 is a big fancy American doctor with a ton of money, apparently. Ladies, he's single, by the way. He's done every surgery from breast augmentation to a partial nephrectomy. Mother cut out a tumor out of someone's organs.
He was literally the real-life Dr. Don Wario. However, in September 2022, he called in Finn's stream, revealing his voice for the first time. This was the same stream that Jude's dad showed up in earlier.
Hello.
Hello? You gonna do I
What is this, a 60-year-old
get an
man?
explanation now?
That's kind of creepy.
But the most we would learn came from other prominent members of the community, bringing us all the way back to 416 Hobbit.
Alright, it's Finn time.
10 and 416 had collabed in the past, with the former voicing a news reporter in the Democracy Fails for Finster video. In November 2022, 416 uploaded The Conspiracy Was Real, which begins with a shot of a log cabin at night during the blizzard. It then cuts to show Hobbit in a wheelchair watching Jude. The video dramatizes Hobbit coordinating donations with 10, who in contrast is depicted at a beachfront property on a tropical island. They're shown texting each other ways to get her attention. He just glossed over my gifted subs. She did. 10 decides to help him out, donating 1,000 with a message. Hey Hobbit, nice edit today by the way.
Thank you for the $1,000. Jesus Christ. Also, hello, Hobbit. He didn't even say hi to me! He gave me $1,000 and said hi to Hobbit!
The plan succeeds, and Hobbit corrects himself after using the he/him pronouns. Evidently, the two sugar daddies bonded over their love for Finn and became friends. Unfortunately for them, on January 7th, 2023, things came to an abrupt end after Jude uploaded a video simply titled Goodbye. In it, 10 Muses reveals he'd be retiring for the foreseeable future. After donating $500,000 to the femboy, the sugar daddy was moving on with his life to pursue a bucket list of goals.
You want to introduce yourself?
Really?
How come you're leaving?
Well, I decided to stop working and start ticking off some things from my bucket list. Came across you, and it's been great.
On your bucket list, did you have donate $500,000 to a femboy?
I did not. I did not have that. No.
Among them was climbing the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents, which 10 had already started with a friend. He also planned to sail around the world on a sailboat by himself, owning an island packet 380. While it would be hard to watch Finn's streams, the two stayed in touch.
That will make it hard for me to watch your streams, but it won't keep us from staying in touch. I'll still let you know how I'm doing. I'll still want to know how you're doing.
Hell yeah.
The aforementioned donation to Gender GP was first announced in this video, with the $50K to charity being his last hurrah. The man had become a beloved member of the community, so viewers were genuinely sad to see him go. That included 416 Hobbit, who despite speaking to him in private was mostly left in the dark. There was still much he didn't know, and this curiosity led Hobbit to make another video on April 17th, 2023, Finding 10, the Sugar Daddy Search. This took the form of a mockumentary hosted by Jennifer Chan. Chan is played by Little Cha Siu, creator of IsItGirlMonth.com.
10 Muses first reached out to me when I posted a stream highlights video that he genuinely liked. We've chatted often since then. But all of that changed when he left. I've lost complete track of him. I mean, Finn says that he talks to him all the time.
Did you ask him where 10 is?
There's no point. Finn doesn't actually respond to DMs.
Much of, if not the majority of this account is fictionalized, but his interactions with other figures in the community give insight to who was watching at this point. Hobbit introduces the idea of a council, a group of stream personalities Jude confides in and trusts. The newest member, TY, would direct him to Stavamore, Finn's head chat moderator.
Hobbit, how can I help you?
I don't think we've ever talked before, Stav.
Not face to face, no, and chat gets very busy during streams.
Seems like we're living in a simulation, bro.
TV told me you could help me. Do you know where 10 is?
I think I need to speak to TV about the protocols. I'll make a note of that. Well, 10 Muses has left the chat. You know this. You saw the goodbye video. If you need to, I can send you a direct link to it.
No, it's all right. I know all about it. You know, bucket list, the whole thing.
The investigation leads him to fly out to Hawaii in an attempt to track down 10's sailboat. Sadly, this lead turns up nothing. The journey is presumably a tongue-in-cheek travel vlog while he was on vacation. Once Hobbit flew home, he gets back on a call with Stav to confront him on his info.
Hobbit.
Oh, I'm back. I couldn't find the boat.
Well, yes, I'm sorry about that, Hobbit. The information about 10 was updated whilst you were in Hawaii. I don't want to break it to you then after you'd flown that far.
What changed?
Well, Finn said that ship has sailed on stream, and my team thought that meant the obvious.
But just as he's about to hang up the towel, he gets an incoming call from 10 Muses himself.
You don't seem to understand, Hobbit. You're not going to find me, but I can find you. In fact, I know where you are right now.
How? I mean, I think people know I'm in Canada, but I've kept my location fairly secret.
I have my ways, Hobbit.
Is this scripted?
Goodbye.
At the very end, Hobbit pulls out his folder on 10 Muses from a filing cabinet. One of the other files you can see references SodaCat. This bizarre video demonstrates that Finster's audience by this point were creepy old men, who made up the most prominent members of his community, along with a couple of trans people here or there. While clearly in jest, this video reflects how the donor's mysterious departure captured many's curiosity. But there still wouldn't be a serious attempt to identify him until over a year later in July of 2024. Kiwi Farms users resorted to legally dubious methods such as sifting through data breaches. This eventually led them to an answer of who the mystery person was, a 57-year-old Texas investor and physician. Several details lined up, including that
Yeah, probably investor.
this person was an
I was going to say.
MD with an office listed online. While in my opinion, the Kiwi Farms evidence of this being Finnster's benefactor is extremely convincing, as we'll see going forward, I do want to make it clear it hasn't been outright confirmed. So due to this, I made the editorial decision to simply refer to him as the doctor for the rest of this video, instead of listing his real name. The doctor is a board-certified diagnostic and interventional radiologist with over 20 years experience. He moved to West Texas in 2002. In addition to women's health and imaging, he is involved in medical staff leadership. To provide one little caveat, there was still plausible deniability of this being the mystery man. Users found this doctor had a wife and multiple kids, with the oldest now being 34 years old. As the farms would soon discover, his eldest had a long history online under the username Carrie, participating in furry roleplay and writing fanfiction on LiveJournal. But perhaps the biggest twist came from Carrie's Reddit account, in which they learned she now identified as a trans woman. This revelation threw the entire thread for a loop. To some, it could be interpreted as Carrie using her father's account to support Finnster. After all, it would make sense if she was more knowledgeable about. But for others, it implied something darker. If unrelated, it's an insane coincidence that the kid of a secret sugar daddy who paid an exorbitant amount of money to make a 22-year-old live as a woman full-time, even offering just so happened to also be. Given what little we know about Ten, that he is a wealthy businessman and doctor, if the doctor
Yes, I'm actually twisted.
was correct, it simply had to be the father
Sorry.
and not the son. Immediately after Kiwi Farms discovered this information, 10 Muses deleted all of his public-facing accounts. It's unclear if the doctor and his wife are estranged, but leaks show she signed up for conservative news sites. They even met Jordan Peterson together after buying VIP tickets for an event. Another interesting development was that in June of 2023, after Ten's public farewell, Finn showed messages indicating they had hung out in real life. These messages resurfaced after the docs. What the f***? Sorry, been unresponsive, by the way. Ten's last day here was yesterday. Just woke up to him leaving. House too quiet. Miss him. Frowny face. Discussion of this new information was limited in Finnster's community. As far as I'm aware, neither Ten or Jude responded publicly, likely to avoid giving it attention. This is where the story of 10 Muses ends publicly, though I'd be surprised, given their friendship, if they weren't at least still communicating behind the scenes. It really can't be understated how much more sinister of a light it paints on their previous interactions. Let me paint you a picture. A millionaire who got his wealth doing dropped $500,000 on a young 22-year-old, bribing him to dress up as a woman full-time. It escalated to full
So he's probably what, 100
on Daddy Dom
million
baby girl
or
roleplay,
10
to the
million.
point he was giving Jude timeouts in a pink plastic children's chair he gifted, after trying to against the two men in person. Now, the former Minecraft streamer, who once insisted he was cis and heterosexual, was on HRT and had developed. It's been a long journey, so let's check back in on where Finn's fans and career are at now. Him and Ashley also began released as pay-per-view content, which you have to pay for individually on top of a subscription. Finn refers to his OF model as the Battle Pass, as he enjoyed gamifying the process. This faced backlash due to poor communication, as many felt they were being cheated. There were even allegations he signed with an agency to use AI to respond to messages. It became so contentious that mods started deleting threads complaining about
I mean, can you tell already?
this on Reddit.
All OnlyFans messages are AI bots.
Later apologizing and clarifying there was no agency, as Finn was just lazy. Ashley and Jude began filming with other people, including a cis man named Vlad. In April 2025, Finn shot his first, with it being the aforementioned Vlad the Impaler. By then, Finn had moved into a new house and broken up with Ashley, although the two stayed close friends. Jude also had a few notable crossovers with other creators. For example, he met up with Pyrocynical, who wore a furry mask while Finn walked him on a leash. Finn also did a video with Freddy, a fellow British crossdresser, dubbing him his replacement. He used a similar title when dolling up Jack Manifold. When several former acquaintances from his Minecraft days got outed for various accusations, he remarked on how common it was.
I have been friends with at least 3 people that have been outed as fucking weirdos.
In April of 2025, Finnster sponsored 32 one-year-long scholarships for trans voice training with Seattle Voice Lab. Then in November, he announced his long-awaited nonprofit health service for trans youth, setting up the online clinic and .health. Despite these steps, Jude has remained adamant that he doesn't want to be a representative for trans people. I delayed coming out specifically to avoid people thinking of me as a voice for them, when I'm not nearly informed enough to be that. It's personally fulfilling to help the community where I can. I'm not going to stop that because people find me annoying. In January of 2025, Finn announced plans to get facial feminization surgery. He explained it was due to insecurity over how his face looked at different angles, and most of all, overhead lighting. It was in part
Really?
because Jude had always been insecure about his nose.
Here is me from the side. I despise.
Oh, no one cares about
Eyes,
this,
my sight
honestly.
Oh my god, the resolution. As you can see, nose is kind of straight, but with a bit of a thing, a bit of a concave, and then the same sort of thing with this, right?
Finnster would end up seeking help from Facial Team, one of the top international providers for facial feminization surgeries. The operation took place a month later in Spain, where he was accompanied by Ashley. Yet this ended up being an extremely traumatic experience, one they recounted at length on stream.
The nurses that worked at the hospital that I was recovering in, dog!
You see, when communicating with Facial Team, all the people they spoke to knew English. But once they got to the hospital, all the building's nurses only spoke Spanish. This made it extremely difficult to communicate or understand their instructions, which was worrying given it related to drug, surgery, and his overall health. Regardless, on the first day, things started smoothly. They put Jude under while Take On Me, a favorite song of his, played in the background. When he spoke up, there was an hour of bliss until the anesthetic wore off. Then it was followed by what he called the worst pain he had ever felt in his life. Covered in bandages, Jude recounted his head being nothing but numbness and anything that wasn't, searing in pain. One concern he raised was over inadequate painkillers. Jude occasionally took a prescribed sleeping med, which made Ashley concerned about mixing them with the downers. So at first they administered 1 gram of paracetamol or Tylenol every 8 hours. The next 6 hours
So what's the
was
new
described as
image?
total agony. He wasn't hooked up to any machines.
What's
Jude had to
his
urinate
name?
in a cardboard jug that Ashley then disposed of herself. It got so bad that Finn began screaming, "Sedate me," over and over again. The nurses did come back, but to tell him to shut up because he was scaring the other patients. Eventually, Finn got up and tried to leave, wandering around the halls while mumbling in broken Spanish. After some deliberation, they pumped him full of a cocktail of painkillers. Finster was knocked out so badly from this that Ashley was terrified he might stop breathing or choke on his own vomit in the middle of the night. Despite all this, Finster was somehow satisfied with facial team and the actual surgery. As you can tell from the clips I've shown, while recovering from the surgery, Jude has waited to reveal his new face on stream, although we've gotten glimpses through more curated platforms like Twitter and OF. In 2026, Finn has noticeably slowed down on streaming and has discussed the possibility of retiring in a series of now-deleted tweets. "You're a rich asshole."
I mean, he can retire anytime he
Perpetuated
wants.
the fetishization of trans women by playing into the whole "actually I'm a guy he bit for years. There's nothing to your personality or content, and if it weren't for the fact that you used to be a guy, you would be nothing. I did benefit when I was cross-dressing and knew nothing about the world. Worth noting 100% of this viewership left when I came out a few days ago. I'm edging retirement by only posting what I feel like. It's been nice. Fetishization was here before I was, and will be after I'm gone. I get it's selfish to hyper-focus on a single charitable cause, but if I keep giving money to trans people, I feel like it justifies my cringe. As for if Finster would ever return to making Minecraft content, he has said he feels a bit weird to make a Minecraft video when which is understandable. And that brings us to the current day, with no one really knowing what will happen next in the streamer's life. And with everything laid out, I think you can now understand why I felt the need to start this video off with a disclaimer. While I don't have any agenda on the topic of gender dysphoria discourse online, it's hard to not look at the story of Finster and wonder if he was pushed down a path that he wouldn't have taken if not for his online audience. This is a young man that didn't come from money and had aspirations of being a
Yeah, he wants
full-time
money,
Minecraft
that's all.
content. When he dressed like a woman, he got attention and as a result, revenue. Then
He's like every British
as enough
streamer
mistakes,
ever.
people would donate to have him live more of his life as a woman. Finally, when a rich man started throwing life-changing wealth for him to take the full plunge, his audience cheered it on. To quote the Smiths, that joke isn't funny anymore. Having covered adult entertainers on this channel quite a bit, I've seen a similar theme throughout. At some point, you have to look past all the therapy speak about sexual liberation and ask yourself, am I being manipulated here?
Okay.